much for stopping by. So I'm going to be doing a gardening review, gardening product. So this is for Botanicare CNS17 Grow, and this is what it looks like. So I have two pots, or two different pots that are really a cluster of fiddle leaf fig trees. And I completely fell in love with fiddle leaf fig trees. I started with the one, and I did my research. It's not really good to feed it like the Miracle-Gro fertilizer. It's supposed to have a NPK of 312. And so I did my research, and a lot of fertilizers that I really supposed to be for fiddle leaf fig trees are kind of expensive. So I found this. I just kind of looked for the NPK 312, and I found this one. So I did my research on it because I forgot where it was. It was some kind of article or blog or something that fiddle leaf fig trees are similar to orchids in a sense, in which they prefer not to have urea in their fertilizer because it can harm them. Like, for example, if you feed orchids fertilizers with urea, it could actually kill them. And you have to make sure that it's catered for orchids, or urea safe, and just, they'll be okay with it. Because if not, then you can kill your plant. So I did my research, and this is really more of the affordable economic kind of sense. And it's rated really well on Amazon. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and I did. And so it does have a feeding chart in the back. And what I did was I started with, because it says week 1, week 2, week 3, which is all in the vegetative state, which would be a fiddle leaf fig tree. Because if you have a fiddle leaf fig tree, if it's grown indoors, it's very rare it's going to have any fruit. And if you have it outdoors, that would mean you would live in an extremely hot and humid climate. They do have fruit. I don't remember if they're ornamental or they are edible. I'm not sure about that. So with that, I only used the vegetative chart. I started with 1 tablespoon because that's 15 ml or milliliter. And now I'm currently, or I was currently in, I do 1 tablespoon and 1/2 teaspoon. So that would make it into 17.5 ml, which would be in between week 2 and week 3, because week 3 is 18 and week 2 is 17. And as long as I don't go over, it shouldn't harm the plant. So it's just easier to measure with my measuring spoons, 1 tablespoon, 1/2 teaspoon, versus if I do get like a syringe and have to do all that, like syringes are kind of harder to clean for me. So I just did it that way. And I have a ton of measuring units, measuring system units, because I'm a baker and I'm and so I do all of that. And so I chose this. Some people were having a hard time with it, and I think it's because they kind of stuck with the week 1 and never really moved on, and they were kind of scared to move on, because when you do over fertilize a plant, it can actually kill it. So this is what I've done. I have done 1 tablespoon, and I have incremented it directly to 1 tablespoon and 1/2 teaspoon in 1 gallon of water. I have also added supplements in there, and I will link down below everything that I'm using with this on my fiddle leaf fig plant. Now, I was reading everything else, and I stumbled upon that you could actually use the same formulation or the same NPK ratio for a corn plant or a Dracaena, or a also with a Petrocroton or any kind of croton family, and a Schefflera. So I did it with all those plants, and then I found out that you could also fertilize this with a peace lily and pretty much every plant you have, including orchids, because it's urea free. So, but what I've only done with this is I have given it to my corn plant. I have given it to my petricroton. I have given it to my schefflera, my fiddly fig. I have also tried to give it to my peace lily. However, that was already like an uphill battle. So, it was really like the last resort. It kind of perked up a little bit, but I didn't really give it enough chance. I just kind of chugged it. So I think it's a combination of what I'm using. When I was just using just this without any kind of supplement, I've noticed that my plant was like, it looked really healthy. When I added the supplements in there, my plant keeps on reproducing leaf after leaf after leaf after leaf. And again, it is a cluster of like 5-6 plants in one pot, and I have 2 separate ones now. I purchased the second one as soon as I got the rhythm on how to care for these beautiful plants. So it's just, I'm just picturing like the new leaves over and over again, and I just get a new leaf every day. So I really, really love it. Currently though, I am transitioning, I'm testing out a different fertilizer for it, which is more of an all-purpose fertilizer for all of my plants. But what I could say, if you are interested in looking for a more economical, a more affordable, a really great fiddle leaf fig fertilizer, I would suggest Botanicare CNS17, because it really does work. And again, it's 1 tablespoon, 1/2 teaspoon is what I'm using now, but I would suggest start with 1 tablespoon per gallon. And I would also suggest you use some supplements in there, because they really have different I'm sorry guys, I have multiple head trauma. I'm recovering from that, and I have amnesia, and certain times I cannot get the words out, and my vocabulary now is very challenged. So what I was trying to say is that a fertilizer and a supplement, they can go well together because their ingredients and the effect that they have are different. So pretty much I'm giving it supplements that there are 2 different kinds. One is to encourage growth, which is also what a fertilizer does. And the other one, so it's kind of like, because you can't really double dose a fertilizer, so I'd rather get it from a different source and actually kind of double it in that way. The other way that I'm doing it is, the other supplement I'm using is, it will strengthen the bark and the branches, and will have, the plant will just strengthen. It will just strengthen everything about the plant, and in turn you will have a stronger stems, stronger bark, stronger stalks, stronger leaves, better growth and things like that. And also, because they're stronger, they can actually also encourage to produce more growth, because when a plant is bigger and thicker and stronger, it is more confident and actually have the resources to actually produce a lot more than it thinks it does. And you have to think that these kind of plants usually, a lot of house plants are usually tropical plants. Some of them, the cacti and the succulents, a lot of those are desert plants. So they all come from very hot climates. So you have to supplement them with a fertilizer and a vitamin and a supplement and stuff like that, because you have a controlled environment in your home. You don't have the wind element, which also can bring a lot of stuff in there that can actually help the plant. You don't have the rain element, which actually pose as a nature's fertilizer in there. You don't have the animals, the bugs, and all that, what nature actually has have. So you always want to try and replicate as much as possible when it comes to the vitamin and supplement area, because you put them in a controlled environment like a pot inside your home. I'm really explaining that and actually wanting to put it out there because people always ask me, like, how do I get my plants to really be big? And I get a lot of people being really shocked in regards to my plants are really flourishing, even the very difficult plants, or what they call difficult plants for them. I always tell them there is no secret. I always fertilize all my plants. I now started, very recently started supplementing now as well as fertilizing, because I've noticed that you can actually add a lot of different other things because they're different ingredients and they have different functionalities. And so it's like giving your plant 2, 3, 4 different kinds of factors that could actually enhance, encourage, and strengthen the plant altogether. So that's why I always encourage that. And I know a lot of fig lovers out there are always wondering how to make your plant, flourish. I would recommend this. This actually really helps with growth. But as I've said before, just using this alone, I've noticed that my plant was incredibly healthy, but it wasn't really until I added other supplements, which is normal, really, for just a fertilizer. It's always like that. That's normal. Fertilizer always encourages certain growth, but because it's a very, you can't give it too much. That's where I found out that adding supplements really does help. So it did encourage a little bit of growth, but when I added the other stuff in there with this, which all my supplements actually work with all the fertilizers I'm using with, because they're supplements, they're not fertilizers, and I did all the quadruple check what you could do. So I recommend this. I have used this for a few months and it's still very heavy. So it's very economical. It's very affordable. And they actually sell this actually in a bigger size, and it's actually cheaper when it's bigger. But if you only have like one fig tree, it's up to you and how you water it. Some people really do. If you're one of those people that let their plant just go in the tub and be showered, my husband used to do that with his plants, with certain plants. So what I would advise is you give the water with fertilizer and supplements, or just the fertilizer, at the end. You don't want to give it in the beginning, because if you give it in the beginning, it will just be flushed out. I would recommend it will be like the last gallon, or the last however amount of water you're going to give the plant, and that will be where the nutrients are. So it can be watered thoroughly for how long. And I'm just talking about this because some people have different ways in watering their plants. Some people actually put them in the tub, and I don't know how long they let the water run through it. A lot of fig lovers do the same thing. They let it sit in there for an hour. I would suggest when, you're in the last few minutes, that's when you give it the 1 gallon of water with the fertilizer. I really won't suggest it in the beginning. The reason I know this is because I experimented with my husband's plant before, and when he was just watering, it would just water. It was okay. It was just like there, you know what I mean? And then when, and there were times when he said, "Can you please water my plant?" And I was routinely doing it. What I did was I would water it from the sink, for, like, say he says, "Oh, I usually run the water for like a half hour." So what I would do is I would do it like 20 minutes, and then the last gallon of water, it would be filled with fertilizer. And after about a few weeks, you actually see a big difference. So I do recommend you fertilize your plants. I recommend whatever plant you want to use this with. It's very safe. I've used it with my corn plant, fiddle leaf fig plant, croton, schefflera. I've used this with, those are the only ones I can think of right now. Yeah, those are the only ones I probably have used this with, and I'm comfortable in actually saying that I have. If I have used it with other plants, I don't remember. So I recommend that. I would give this product, I would say a 3.5 out of 5. And the reason I say that is because the container is really hard to use. When you open this, you have a high chance of spilling it. And if you are wondering, the consistency is somewhat it looks kind of thick, like a little bit thicker than milk. It's opaque, but when you mix it with water, it actually blends in quite okay. I would recommend, when you're doing your gallon, I would shake it up really, really well, because sometimes it can kind of separate itself from the water. So just shake it really well before you use it, and you should be fine. Yes, it's a 3.5 for me. It's not just the container, but I feel like it needed something else. However, for the price point, you know what? I changed my mind. It's a 4 out of 5 now. Because for the price point, it really is great versus the other leaf fig tree fertilizers and the other fertilizers with the same NPK ratio, which is not very common. So, yes, I recommend this a lot. I'm in a lot of plant groups, and when somebody has a question about a certain fertilizer, for a certain plant, I recommend this all the time. And the reason I recommend it is because I have tried and tested it. My plants are thriving. I don't have any issues with it. And there's actually people that would ask me, like, how do you use it? Just because this feed chart is quite different from when you go to like a very common name fertilizers or your everyday certain fertilizer. This fertilizer is a little bit more in an advanced stage, because this can be also used in aeroponic, DWC systems, NFT systems, and stuff like that. So that's why it's very intricate in that sense. Other fertilizer directions are usually, it's either like this: indoor recipe is this way, or the mix, and outdoor mix is this way. Those are the two options that you get usually. So I recommend for just these kinds of plants, you start off with 1 tablespoon, which is an equivalent of 15 ml, 15 ml or milliliter. And if you are comfortable and you feel like you need it a little bit more, I would add an extra 1/2 teaspoon, or if you want to and you have a syringe and you're fine with it, you can add 3 milliliter in there after a few weeks. I give it a 2 thumbs up, and I really, really like it. There is no weird smell to it. And for the weirdest thing, when I was using Miracle-Gro and feeding my plants, a lot of the fungus nets that they gave me actually prefer that fertilizer for whatever reason. So this fertilizer doesn't really attract that much of the bugs. I don't know why that is, but it just doesn't. So that's another plus side there. I'm sticking to 4 out of 5. I think I've tried as much as possible to give you guys all the information that I can. Again, I have been using this for a lot of months now, probably close to a year now, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm just kind of transitioning and testing out other products, but I still really love this, and I still own this, and I probably will go back to this if I can't find anything else that will be better. And if I run out with the other stuff that I'm currently using, this is my backup, and I'm always going to keep using it. I will try to probably use it because it can expire at a certain point. But yes, I definitely recommend this product for any plant that you are probably wanting to feed. This can feed peace lily, crotons, schefflera, what else? Fiddleaf fig trees. and a lot of other plants probably that can benefit with a 312 NPK. If you guys enjoyed my video, I hope you're going to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're notified every single time I upload a new video. If there is anything else that I might have missed, because I tried as much as possible to put everything that I've experienced and know in this one video, so it's easy for you guys to just listen to and watch my review and my experience and all of that, and you can implement it if you want to in your gardening life. And if I miss anything, again, let me know down in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys all the time. If you want to talk about fertilizers or plants, any questions, if you have other advice or suggestions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys all the time. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.